Welcome back. I'm Donna Bash, and news of Justice Scalia's death hit the campaign trail like an earthquake, with political aftershocks immediate. Partisans deeply divided over who should get the pick of the next Supreme Court justice.
Barack Obama is president of the United States until January 20th, 2017. That is a fact, my friends, whether the Republicans like it or not.
So just how seismic an event is this for presidential politics and the race this year? Joining me now are Donna Brazile, Vice Chair of the Democratic National Committee, conservative radio show host Hugh Hewitt, and Bob Woodward, author and associate editor of The Washington Post. Thank you all, esteemed panel here. Bob, I'll start with you. If Republicans succeed in blocking President Obama's nominee, what are the political ramifications?
Well, I think they're immense, and I think this is a potential minefield for everyone, including Hillary Clinton and the Obama White House, because if you think ahead, because it was a conservative justice who died, who's going to be replaced, the argument by the Democrats is, gee, we're going to put a fifth liberal on the Supreme Court. The Republican nominee can go out and say, we are going to preserve the balance. And in the world now of real voters, I think it is the persuadable voter or the independent who's likely in a positive way to respond to the idea, yeah, let's preserve the balance. Let's not do anything radical.
That's true, but it also has the potential to really energize the base in both parties. I mean, nothing energizes conservatives, for example, like the Supreme Court.
You're right, Dana. And I agree with Bob. The minefield is on both sides. But if I were a Republican, whether the majority leader, all the way down to the county clerk, and every nominee, I would say very simply, no hearings, no votes. Lame ducks don't make lifetime appointments.
And he's a lame duck even a year out?
Easily. The last time Justice Kennedy has been referred to a lot was nominated in November of 1987 after Judge Bork had been blocked. That vacancy occurred in June of 1987. So there is no precedent. And I would simply add, the base will not forgive anyone. Senators will lose their jobs if they block the blockade. There should be an absolute blockade on this. And Patrick Leahy, who was your guest earlier, voted 27 times to deny a vote or a hearing to Republican nominees between 2001 and 2003. Patrick Leahy created the conditions that he was decrying right now.
Donna, you heard Hugh say that Republicans will lose their job, but obviously what you're hoping on the politics of this is that Democrats can hold this over vulnerable Republicans saying, you're not doing your job.
Absolutely. Look, there are 34 Senate seats up, and many of those seats are in so-called presidential battleground states. If you're Senator Johnson from Wisconsin, Senator Toomey from Pennsylvania, if you're Senator Kirk from Illinois, and many of the other states, Senator Portman from Ohio, these senators must decide whether or not they're going to be branded as not just voting to shut down the government, the federal government, but also shutting down the Supreme Court at a time when the Supreme Court has a lot of big issues on the docket. 21 cases are scheduled to be heard in March. 21. So I look forward to hearing the Republicans discuss how they will block President Obama again while there are so many issues, tough issues before the court.
But that's a process question. And I think those, look, if you're a Republican running and you can say, keep me there, balance is really important. This isn't about the left or the right. This is about the center who's going to decide the election.
Bob, isn't it also about President Obama's legacy? He has been very clear in a lot of different moves lately that he's not afraid of Congress and he wants to make some pretty bold strokes before he leaves. Could this be one of them?
Well, but you can't issue an executive order to make a Supreme Court justice. It has to be confirmed by the Senate. And I think if you think ahead to the fifth or sixth bounce of this, is this a fight the Democratic nominee for president is going to want? Not necessarily.
Absolutely.
Why, Donna?
Because marriage equality, immigration, affirmative action, voting rights, all of these issues hang in the balance. And I think for Democrats, like Republicans on abortion and some of the other issues, this is an issue, this is a court that should not be stacked one way or another based on,
But you
person
stand
who just
to the
departed.
left if you get an
What's
Obama.
wrong with
Hugh,
that?
let me
Okay,
bring you in
I'm
here
talking
because let's
about the neutral center here, not the left or the right.
Justice Scalia, and God bless his soul, our condolences to his family. I mean, he was not the center on these big weighty
Let's talk about the
our
issues
time.
that you're talking about, the things that are actually pending before the Supreme Court as we speak. Immigration, abortion, unions, affirmative action. What is the political fallout for, never mind in the future, right now as we speak?
I believe that the take care clause on the immigration will still, I thought that was a 6-vote case anyway, so I think that will still go the way that constitutionalists and originalists would like, that Justice Scalia would like. And one thing that Bob has said and Donna has confirmed, Justice Scalia is not just any justice, he's a giant. And even though you would never agree with him on something like Employment Division versus Smith, which was a 1990 case that I always decried as unfortunate.
Thank
he's
gosh
a
everybody
giant.
has Google, by the way.
Yeah, and it's about religious freedom. And he's a giant. So it may be tough for Portman and Ayotte and for Kirk to
The
go
vulnerable
with
senators.
the vulnerable Republican senators and Johnson to go with no hearings, no votes, lame duck presidents don't make lifetime appointments. They may lose as a result of that. But if they allow it to go forward, they will certainly lose. And so they have a choice between Scylla and Charbonneau. They have to block this nomination.
Justice Scalia revered the Constitution, and the Constitution provides a mechanism to replace justices, and that's what the Senate should do. They should vote to hold a hearing.
10 seconds,
Okay,
final word.
well, let's see if that's going to happen, because I think the Republicans have the vote on this. And again, you know what? In the 1970s, when Justice Douglas, very much of the left, retired, there was an article in the Washington Star, the competitor to the Washington Post, by Lyle Denniston, one of the great Supreme Court reporters of all time. And the headline was, "The Supreme Court will never be the same. Everyone, left, right, center, is going to miss Justice Douglas." I think it's the same case with Scalia.
I just want to say I love ending this discussion with Bob Woodward talking about headlines from the 70s. It just feels kind of perfect.
That's all I can do.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for that discussion.